name is ZeBirdBrain and today we are talking about hand-drawn animation. Well, not exactly hand-drawn animation because as I said in the previous video, this is useful for 3D, cutout, compositing, and anything really that you need to plan with. So today we're still talking about the X sheet, but we're going to focus on the annotation columns because they are very useful, but there's a lot of ways you can use them and a lot of things to know about how to use them. So annotation columns are columns in your X sheet that you can draw on. Alright, so I'm going to create one by going to the column here. So add column, and then you're gonna have a little window that appears in your screen. You can go to type, annotations. I'm gonna call that my dialogue analysis. So dialogue, and I will go here and make it an annotation column. Add and close is gonna add it at the bottom of my scene. So basically, this is a layer that you will not see in your timeline or your node view. It is really a annotation column that you only see in your X sheet, and in there you can write whatever you want. You can also use your eraser on your stylus to erase what you don't want. So it's very convenient to plan out your animation. So let's say that I was listening to my dialogue. What you could do is, once you imported your sound by going to File, Import, Sound, it's going to show up in your timeline, and then if you double click on it, you can have this window that appears, and it allows you to see your sound into these kind of waveform and kind of go through it in a very more precise manner than in your X sheet. So it can be maybe useful for some of you. And then if I see that here at frame, I don't have the sound here because it would be annoying in the video, but I know that at this frame 18, Dan says go. That's the big thing you see here. So if I know that it's at frame 18, then I can go in my dialogue annotation column, and at 18 I can write go. And all this thing here is the well. So if I know that this is well, I'm gonna start it at frame 3, and I'm gonna write a big well and make it stop here. Go, and then he says go again, so I'm gonna write it again. And the frame where I start my letter usually means this is where the sound starts and goes. This is a little technique I learned back when I was in animation school. We would always analyze our dialogues like this on X sheet made of paper. You know, it's 2022, I wouldn't do that on paper, but doing it on the computer for very complex dialogue, lip sync, I still write it down because it just saves me time. Instead of trial and error, I just write it and it just goes faster. Right, so this is for the sound element editor. You can have your annotation column here. And on top of that, you can also see your sound in your X sheet. Mine is just a little bit here. Yeah, this column here is my sound, but I don't see my waveform. To see your waveform, you can just right click, go to sound display, and have your waveform. Boop. So this is really helpful combined with your annotation columns and stuff. The other way your annotation column can be useful is to plan out your animation like this. So it's just planning what the character is going to do. I don't always include my spacing charts or timing charts, but sometimes I do. Just depends on what action you're doing, if it's easier or not. Usually when I plan, I just write words, and I very, very loosely do what the action is going to be in the beats. Makes it easy and fun to play with. So to change the tool you're using, either you can use your stylus, and depending on which side you're using, if it's the nib or the eraser, well, you know, the nib is going to write and the eraser is going to erase. You can also Control Z, so if I do a bunch of lines, I can Control Z to hide them. And yeah, have a nice day.